long now.
What a phenomenal.
That's enough.
What was that the intro story you wanted to tell me?
No. Anyway, dog. Welcome to Smartly and Educate, everybody. My name is Ben.
And I'm your beautiful, lovely host,
The
Evan.
Wiz.
Welcome back, my e-dogs. I'm happy to have you back here.
You look
I'm
like a
happy
ghost,
to be here.
motherfucker.
Ooh, hunty,
It's because
hunty.
the lighting in here from
I'm
the
a
monitors.
scary ghost man.
Look at that chest hair.
Yeah, I'm letting the shag carpet out today for y'all.
Yo, the 70s call. They want the muff back. Wait, carpet. I didn't go there.
Muff
dog.
hasn't gone anywhere, babe.
No, dog, it hasn't. To the Amazon forest we go. Get your machetes out, boys. Wait, what?
Wow.
What? What's happening right now?
Where are we?
Attack of the steel wool monsters. Blah. Yeah, sorry.
Oh man, that's like some serious 70s
That's
stuff right there, brother. Speaking of the 70s, we got whistleblowers today, brother.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude, we do. Yeah, dog.
Yeah, we have a fun episode for y'all.
We do.
It'll be probably a little bit more lighthearted. It'll still be a serious note, but it will definitely still be a little bit more lighthearted than our past few episodes.
Yeah. So we're gonna cover a lot of different whistleblowers in this. This isn't just one particular topic or category. This is going to cover kind of I don't know, when we talked about it, we wanted to touch on pretty much whistleblowers that aren't being talked about right now, like that has an ongoing thing that is super important. I have a bunch that when I was digging into this, just looking for people who have been blown the whistle, I had to get a little crafty in my searches because you can't just type in whistleblower. It'll just come up with the mainstream stuff, like the newest stuff that's going on, like David Grusch, which nothing against that. Like I've been following that as well, but it wasn't pulling up anything else outside of that.
So, I mean, that concept is really interesting because if you're trying to find out who whistleblowers are, why they do these things, you can find that a lot of this stuff has been pushed to the sides and covered up and trying to be hush-hush under the rug.
Yeah.
Especially ones that are related to like alien whistleblowing and malfunctioning of major airline equipment or just equipment in general. These things are being pushed under the rug for insurance sakes, right?
Yeah, and the Boeing one came up, but that was a little weird too.
That one's a very more recent one though. That's still in the headline news. But there's one like Carl Wolf of the U.S. Air Force who got pushed under the rug, and because if you look up Carl Wolf, there's only a few things about him nowadays. Also, it's hard to find anything about him truly.
Yeah, I have a handful. Actually, here in just a moment, I want us to. What we'll do is we'll cover kind of the more mainstream ones first, a little bit going on, because I feel like there are some people that aren't following, like David Grusch, for example. People are following David Grusch's stuff, but at the same time, they're not, because there's some information.
That makes no sense.
Well, they say, so people are talking about it, but did they actually go and watch the testimonies? Like
Gotcha,
from
okay.
beginning to end. Some people haven't.
Or they're just reading the headlines and they're not actually reading the article or wondering who he is or what he did.
So for like David Grusch, I did a tiny little breakdown on him.
And that's where we come in play, baby.
Hell yeah, baby.
That's what we're here for.
We make it fun.
Do we?
We're all doomed. Yeah. Yeah, dude.
Get to your bunkers, put on your aluminum foil hats, because you're in for a deep dive.
Oh yeah, baby. That's what I like to
I don't
see.
like that you were staring at me on the monitor like that.
I wasn't.
Are you staring at yourself now?
Nope. No, dog. I don't roll that way. Or raw dog.
Hey, I've been using that term a lot recently. My dog has not been eating her food, so I've been having to raw dog her some food, giving her some straight up raw meat, buddy. You know what I'm saying?
How's that working out for you, buddy?
She's loving it, dude. She's gobbling that shit down as if it was yesterday's old lasagna, dude.
Nice, dog. I love that dog.
I also love that dog.
Why are we saying dog so
I feel
much?
like Exhibit. Yo, dog.
Okay. All seriousness, real quick. Before we jump in,
The camera's on me.
I know. I did that intentionally to get.
I
it
do
off
look
of
like
me.
a ghost.
No, you look way better now than you did before. Anyways, let's get back to the topic at hand. So what I was going to say is that we, real quick, if y'all don't want to sit from this little story I'm about to share, skip literally 5 minutes ahead, and we'll be back into the topic and digging right in. So I wanted to share a story real quick. of a really fun moment, and I couldn't stop thinking about it on and off for the past few weeks. My wife and I went to the House of Blues in Dallas, and for a concert there, we got invited by some of our friends, and we're at this concert, and we had been there for probably an hour and a half. People were playing whatever. Well, all of a sudden, it's like in between. It's like in between sets, right? So one of the openers just got done. There was like 3 or 4 opening bands before the main headline, which,
as per usual,
which was like Hobo Johnson something. I forgot the name. I think it was just called Hobo Johnson. But weird name, right?
No,
he's got some fun music though. I dig it. Dog, what's up? Anyway, my dogs dig all the time.
I love how you're describing what a concert is. Yeah, you go to a venue.
Oh, you're slouched right now. You keep shrinking.
You go to a venue. You got 4 people playing music. In between each band, they stop to make other music.
Yeah, dog. You expect anything less?
Whoa, zoom effect. Hello, YouTube channel. You're getting behind the scenes view of how we make me look so great.
I'm fixing his thing because he keeps moving. Anyways, back to the topic. Or not topic, but my story. So in between sets, my wife and I are just standing there BSing, having a drink. And all of a sudden, this girl just like power walks right up to my wife. And I instinctually go, why is this bitch walking up like that? Like you could tell she was altered. Like she was drunk.
Yeah.
Not drugs. She was drunk. It was blatantly obvious she was just drunk. And she comes up and she goes, hey, like getting in my wife's face, not in a mean way, just like really wanting to talk to her. And my wife turns around and goes, she goes, hello. And she goes, you look really smart. You should be, she goes, you should be an airplane mechanic. Blah, blah, blah. Like just out of nowhere. Random person. And she was like, and my wife's like, oh yeah? And she goes, yeah, I'm a mechanic for American Airlines. Or sorry, she goes, I'm an airplane. She didn't even say the name of them yet. She's like, I'm an airplane mechanic, and blah, blah, blah. And she's like slurring a little bit, really being loud. And she's with her mom. Her mom's right behind her. I guess what I'm assuming the dynamic is that she was in town visiting, and her mom, went out. Her and her mom went out. And her mom was like basically playing babysitter. This girl was not like 21. This girl was every bit of like 26, 27, maybe 28 years old. And I go, what airlines you say you worked for again? She goes, oh, it was American. And she's like bobbling her head because she's drunk. And I go, oh, thank God. I thought you were about to say Boeing. And I just went like that, finger guns. She just stared at me as if like, how like drunk people will just like tune off all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And there's like, that's literally what she did. She's like,
that was her MK Ultra.
yeah. And I was just like, and then I just like, my eyes shifted this way to her mom who's standing right there. And her mom was laughing because of the Boeing joke. Her mom just goes, oh, like that. And I was like, yeah, I'll be here the rest of the night. Yeah, literally. So,
I'm not going anywhere. We paid for this.
But yeah, it was a really funny thing that happened. And then I thought that was the end of it. Thought we weren't ever going to see the bitch again. Just kidding. I know her name. I'm not going to say her name because she was also giving out her personal information.
I'm sure she was. She's
which
drunk.
Her mom was trying so hard to stop her. I was like, put a muzzle on the bitch.
Here's my social security number. Here's my phone number.
Oh yeah, dude. She said her name, her age, and her birth date. And I'm like,
wow.
If I had any ulterior motives, I'd be taking advantage of that stuff. But I'm not. I'm a good person. Or good enough. I'm just good enough not to do stuff like that to someone. Anyways, so we ended up running into her again later. And that's like when we're leaving, they're in the bathroom, and then the girls go to the bathroom or whatever. I'm waiting out, just out in the main area, and I'm with, her friend's husband, Pete, and we're just standing there. And I guess whenever they went in there, while I'm standing there waiting out of this hallway where the bathroom is, all of a sudden I see that girl again. She comes walking out. Dude, I got so excited. I haven't seen her like an hour and a half. And I was like, hey. Her name was Amanda. Oh, I'm not going to say her last name.
Okay.
Her name was Amanda. Shout out to you, Amanda. If you remember anything that night and you come across any short of me doing this, just so you know, it's about you. American Airlines mechanic. Gotcha. But yeah, so she, she came out of the bathroom and she's walking down the hall, and she walks in the main area, and I see her. She's like dead on with me right here, and I'm just like, Amanda, hey, and I'm like waving at her, trying to get her to come over. Bro, I guess she had a little bit too many more drinks, and you know how like you get past that point, it's just like the switch goes, and you're just like robot mode, trashed. That's where she was.
She's like tired, drunk, like stumbling into any direction where she knows where her last people were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor girl.
Don't worry, her mom was like literally waiting outside the thing. Like her mom was standing over a little bit to my left. And so like when she walked out, she was looking at me, but dude, no one was home. She was just like a zombie mode. I'm like, Amanda, no.
I wanted to make more Boeing jokes.
It's like, I really wanted to know more about your personal information. No. I don't remember it now. Can you tell me it again? Like, here's a camera. I'm like, what's going on? Let's record that shit.
I really wish she was coherent. That way you can ask her like where she's getting her materials from, so we can put these companies.
The same vendors as Boeing.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Oh shit, dog.
We're getting them from Uzbekistan. Oh no.
Anyways,
They call that used Bekistan because they got used material.
yeah, dog. What's up? Anyways, that's all I got. That was my little story I wanted to share.
I like that story. I like that story.
That's all I wanted to share.
Yeah.
Fun little tidbit before we get into it.
If y'all have made it this far, thank you so much. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us on any other platform out there. I'm always going to do this every episode. You can just pass right by if you want to, but if you don't want to, make sure you share it to your grandma. Force your friends and neighbors and family members and loved ones to watch our show. Put it in front of their eyes. Again, thank you so much. We have an email, smartlyuneducated@gmail.com. It is, in fact, a real email. We, in fact, got a few emails just the other week. Somebody named Dahlia sent in an email talking about shadow people. It was a very, very fascinating read. She said that we can read it on the air if we want to.
Yep. Yep. And I know I said we were about to jump into the topic, and I told everyone to skip ahead 5 minutes. So what we'll do is at the end of the episode, or actually, you know what? Whenever we take like a pee break or whatever,
Yeah, we can do that.
We'll go ahead and we'll read it. So yeah, we'll read that shared story of shadow with shadow people and everything.
Absolutely.
Here in just a little bit.
It's very cool. So
Yeah.
yeah, stay tuned.
Super swag.
Super swag.
Super
dude.
swag, dude.
What a, man, that sounds like a venereal disease. Why did I say it like that? Disease.
I don't know. Anyways, let's move on. So let's talk about the whistleblowers.
So what is a... Well, let's break this down to dum-dum style, 5 years old. What the hell is a whistleblower?
Someone who blows the whistle.
Well, I mean, so by definition, it is anyone or anything who has and reports insider knowledge of the illegal, illicit, or fraudulent activities occurring inside of an organization or company. They can be employees, suppliers, contractors, clients, or any individual who comes across dubious business activities. They are protected from retaliation under various organizations such as OSHA, Sarbanes-Oxley Act, and the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC. This is all impacted in 1989. So if you are a whistleblower, you are technically protected. But as history has shown, you are not safe. You may be protected legally, but not physically.
Yeah, and then on top of that, actually one of the people I have on here that I did a little breakdown on, she is one of the founders of the setup for protecting whistleblowers.
Oh, very
because
cool.
of what she blew the whistle on. So she was one of the people who started that group.
Not Sam Mohawk?
No.
Gotcha.
Not even close. This took place back in like the late 70s or mid 80s or something like that. But anyways, so we have a few different people we're going to talk about. The question is real quick that I'm going to pose to you is, do we want to limit how many whistleblowers we talk about? Because, obviously I have quite a few. I didn't know who all you had, because since we do our own independent thing, and then we just kind of bring it together. Is there anyone in particular that are top people you want to talk about?
I definitely want to talk about Carl Wolf. That one has intrigued me.
Okay.
I looked into quite a few of them, but I really liked what he had to offer in his little story. It's a very brief one, but I find his stuff quite damning about what the Navy has done and what NASA has done as well in terms of cover-ups and in terms of misleading the public.
Mm.
I think it is important to note the history about whistleblowers as well. It is still a very new concept in society. Only in the 19th century was the term actually coined, and you can thank the French for that. Those French bastards love to take down their government. That is a very well-known thing. They despise their government, are always rioting and attacking and trying to make sure they're being right. And I think Americans can take a fucking note out of that
Yeah.
and really start holding their government to proper standards, if you will.
Yeah.
Ralph Nader is accredited to coining the modern usage of the term in the 1970s. So you can also thank Ralph Nader. He is an interesting figure.
Well,
but
so you were bringing up Carl Wolf. Let's talk about him real quick.
okay, yeah, sure.
Because we can go into David Grusch right after, because same category.
Absolutely.
Might as well knock it out. But yeah, so why don't you go ahead and I know you did the report on him. I have some stuff up here about him here. So if you want to dive in that, because I have some comments I want to make once we start.
Yeah, I got a little thing here I wrote up about him. Carl Wolf. Oh my God! Sorry, everybody. My mouth is dry. Let me get a gulp of water because H2O is king.
While you're doing that, I can tell everyone a little bit about Carl Wolf until you're ready.
I'm done.
Okay, cool. You're ready. Hello.
Carl Wolf is a former U.S. Air Force photo technician who claimed to have seen secret NASA photos of alien structures on the moon. He also worked in the top secret department of the U.S. Air Force. He died at the age of 74 in a freak bicycle accident in Lansing, New York. He gained fame in 2001 when he alleged that NASA was covering up evidence of alien structures on the moon. Claims he made at the event organization by ufologist Stephen Greer. Wolf said he saw these photos while working at the Langley Airfield, Virginia, forcing data from the NASA Luna Orbiter project, and described the structures as artificial, likely but by intelligent design. An investigation into his death has been launched with no charges yet filed against any of the people involved. So my man came out on stage on national television, said NASA is blurring images in photos being released to the public about aliens and structures on the moon. Clear as day. He said, I have photos that are not altered and I will release them. And he did release them. And you can still find a few of them, but they've been so doctored and edited that they look fucking fake nowadays.
Yeah.
He then, like a few days before his hearing in front of Congress, a man just dies. The luck around that is damning, to say the least. That a truck hit him while he was bicycling in New York. Yeah, granted, New York may not be the most calm place in the world.
Did you say what his title was?
I did not.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But Carl Wolf, just so you can understand what level he was at, he wasn't some low-level guy.
No, he was not.
He was the director of intelligence for the U.S. Air Force Tactical Air Command in Langley, Virginia.
Yeah.
He
was prestigious.
Yeah, and the fact that he was blowing the whistle, he was coming forward saying it. I mean, that gives it some weight to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like there's credibility in that, because it's one thing if you have some low-level guy, because I knew of guys who would go AWOL who were in the military, that I met over the years, and obviously if they came to me trying to say something outrageous, I'd be like, right. Yeah. Because you were already saying some really crazy shit that wasn't true the week before. Yeah. This guy is not like that. This guy's the director of intelligence. For the Air Force. He worked his way up. He was well known. Mm-hmm. He had a prestigious record. Mm-hmm. And
there's a video of him talking with Stephen Greer about it. He's on a podium and Stephen Greer's there with him. He's saying NASA and the U.S. Air Force are covering up literal alien structures on the moon. In the dark side of the moon, they're faking photos and doctoring them. And in 1975, there were photos released, and clear as day, you can see blocked out, blurred images of things on the moon. So,
well, I remember there was that one documentary that
I don't know, man.
I want to say Carl Wolf. I don't know if that was him on there, but there was this guy. I watched a documentary on the moon, and it was a lot of conspiracy around it. And this is back in like, I don't know, 2007 that I watched it. I just remember I was like wait, maybe it was like 2006. I just remember I was a teenager and I was watching. I was just like, what? Like, something I never really thought about
or cared about, right?
Yeah, and I was just like, what? And this guy was like, he was walking through the old hangar, like where they filmed the documentary, was in like one of the old places they used to get all the information. Excuse me, I had to cough. And he was just, this guy was on there. I don't believe it was Carl Wolf. It was someone else, but he claimed to be a photographer for this one particular NASA mission, where they went, and the whole point of it was to launch it up. It orbits around, like basically slingshots around the moon, then comes back. And it was just for taking updated photos. That's all it was.
Yeah.
It was to get more photographs and things like that of the moon. And when they did it, and the images started coming in, he said it hadn't even, I want to say he said it was like very short after the image started flowing in. Within, I don't remember the exact time frame, but I want to say it was maybe a few hours that the photos started finally coming back from the craft. All of a sudden, they had people showing up after they were like, holy shit, look at these photos. Like, look at this one. Look at this one. Like, these are structures. These aren't, that's what this guy was saying in this documentary. He's like, these were actual structures. It was like, not like a rock crater where you had to be like, well, it looks kind of like a structure. No, it was blatantly a structure and glowing. Like, literally looked like a city glowing on the dark side of the moon. That's the only reason they could see it. It's because when they were going around the dark side of the moon, all of a sudden there was like a city at night up in the sky from an airplane. All these lights. And just like, what the fuck? And it was like illuminating everything. And you could see everything clearly from how much light was being produced from this like structured city that essentially was there.
Do you know what happened to this guy who was talking about it?
I don't even know what happened in the documentary.
That's fair. It was a very long time ago, wasn't it? 2006.
Yeah, this was almost 20 years ago I watched it. And I just remember going like, what? Like, that dog, come on, what's this? And then poof. I don't even know what the documentary was called. I don't even know where it is. I'm sure that it's out there somewhere, but every time I've tried to look it up, I don't know what to say it. Like to label it as when I'm looking like guy who talks about photos on the moon. Next thing you know, it pops up ancient aliens in my face of the guy going, aliens, like that. I'm like, oh God. The U.S. History Channel and ancient aliens should never be a thing. If there was ever a disinformation campaign to make you not want to believe in aliens, that show right there, that's the show. Because oh my God, do I want to punch all of them in the face most of the time?
Yeah, I mean,
it's rough.
So I mean, but with that in mind, like the whistleblower effect of Carl Wolf, he's a prime example of individuals who are trying to do the right thing, and they want to do the right thing. They're saying, hey, there's something really wrong here. Why aren't we giving all the information that we have to the public? Because we are releasing these photos, and then he dies. Like they just try to like discredit him, try to put him down, that he is not an important figure, he's not this or that, and then
which is a really weird thing for them to do,
considering
since
his
he was
position.
the director of intelligence,
I know.
U.S. Air Force. Oh, the children. Oh no.
Think of the children. But yeah, that's about it on Carl Wolf. You have so much more than I do.
So since we talked about Carl Wolf, let's talk about David Grusch. So David Grusch, obviously, I'm sure there's anyone listening right now, I'm sure that you've heard of David Grusch for the most part, or maybe if you haven't, you haven't. But it's still ongoing right now. He has been testifying in Congress.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's still alive.
Protect this man.
Oh, he's been meeting with Dr. Stephen Greer and a handful of other people as resource for helping keep him safe.
Stay alive.
And he even talked about, he was even on Joe Rogan's podcast a little while ago.
Wow.
It's really weird. For someone who's blowing the whistle, that's the only thing that bothers me about some of the alien whistleblowers. Like, bitch, if you're going to blow the whistle and you claim you have evidence, then just put it the fuck out.
Yep.
No, it really, I understand the whole narrative of putting out that. It's one thing to talk about, but then actually taking the evidence.
This is the guy who's like non-human biologist, right?
Yeah. So let me.
What the fuck is a non-human biologic? Is it a deer?
No. So that's a question he was asked. He was asked in the Congress by, I think it was AOC who asked him. Was like, and she was like non-human biologics, blah blah blah, and like he was like they weren't human; these are biological beings.
So they're animals. It's a rat.
No, he's talking about aliens, extraterrestrials. The whole thing was about
Then
extraterrestrials.
why didn't he just say that?
He did numerous times. AOC's the one who kept fucking pulling that shit. And it's also how they labeled them. That's another thing. That's another term. I think he was the one who originally said the term first, saying that, like, because that's how they labeled them in the deal.
I own biologics of non-human origin. So do I. I also own that. He's not alone in that.
Yeah, dog.
I got dogs at home.
So David Grusch, we'll be pretty brief about him just because a lot of people already know. But basically, for people who don't know, David Grusch is a former intelligence officer with the U.S. Air Force and National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, also known as NGA. He's made a bunch of allegations regarding the U.S. government's handling of unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UAP for short. And he testified before Congress, which then ended up just reigniting a bunch of stuff about government transparency and the need for scientific investigation in the UAPs. The thing is, that right there, that's already happening. That's been going on. Hence why we have reversed engineer craft. I mean, at this point, it's very obvious we do.
Yes, 100%.
But the thing is about Grush's testimony is that basically, he actually, here's a little quote from him. He said, "I'm here to tell you that the UAP task force was denied access to a broad crash retrieval program." He alleged for decades that government has been retrieving and reverse engineering materials from crashed non-human craft for decades.
Dude, that alone is like a huge flag, right? He's saying, we have been to these sites. We have the technology. That's about it, right? He's saying that we've been there. Release it to the public. Hello. Hi, how are you? I'm David Grusch. Aliens are fucking real.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you're not. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
No shit. And then, so, like, they like the key things with him. So you have, like, the crash retrieval and reverse engineering programs, which, of course, he said that, what was it? So basically, he claimed that the government had been involved in crash retrieval and reverse engineering programs for several decades, like we had said. He then went on to say, quote, "We are not talking about prosaic origins or identities. The material includes intact and partially intact vehicles." So we're talking, he's basically trying to say, we're not talking about something that's blown apart into little pieces. We're talking about these things are intact when we're picking them up, or they're mostly intact.
That's cool.
Like, yeah, he's just trying to emphasize, like, we know these are UFO, like a non-man-made craft, because when we get there, it's a whole fucking craft. It's not like it's been blown up into tiny little pieces and you don't know what it was the fuck before.
That's cool. I like that.
I like that too.
I like that a lot.
The next is the whole non-human biologics, where he basically went on to say that biology of non-human origin. And then when asked to clarify, he said these biologics were recovered from some of the crashes that happened, some of the crash retrieval operations. Pretty much saying we recovered ETs,
from their spaceships.
From their fucking spaceships after they crashed and shit.
How come he didn't just say it in plain English instead of he's bouncing around all these topics like that?
Because he's talking in Congress.
Okay.
Well, you know how that goes. It's a dog and pony show. They control what he's allowed to say.
So that one
he's still
fat
being
rapper,
filtered. Huh?
There's a fat rapper, Jelly Bean or whatever his name is. Jellybone, Jelly Man.
I don't know why. From what I understand, Jelly Roll.
There it is.
Jelly Roll.
He went to Congress. He's like, drugs are bad. People are dying from drugs. You idiots, fix it.
Yeah, no crap.
How come we can have this guy do it? Why can't David Grusch be like, yeah, there are aliens. We have retrieved alien bodies.
There's been other whistleblowers who are up there with him.
Yeah.
Who are saying aliens and extraterrestrials.
Okay. I guess I gotta watch it.
Yeah,
then.
he's not the only one. Like, that was something, the whole non-human biologics, the way he gets about wording, obviously, if you listen to this guy talk, like even normally, he talks very compartmentalized.
Yeah.
And that's just because that's all he's done for the past, you can tell, that's how he's always spoke for probably his entire adult life. That's how he's had to speak. But on top of that, they were talking to him this way. So he was trying to convey it in a way they would understand.
That's fair.
as well.
That's fair. Talking to children, you gotta talk like children, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's use words we don't know the meanings to. Anyways, moving on. So, and then the next key kind of allegation that he brought up was the government secrecy and lack of oversight. So basically, Grusch highlighted significant secrecy and lack of oversight. He testified and said, quote, there has been an extensive effort to keep this hidden from the public and even from Congress.
That's wild.
Well, no, I mean, the thing is, we already know that.
I mean, hidden
Black off the book programs, we know that this has been like a grandfathered in thing.
I mean,
They've been doing it a long time operating on their own shit.
obviously. I guess it's wild that he's just calling them out.
Yeah.
I don't know of any whistleblowers who are just straight up saying they are lying to you, Congress. People of office, people of Senate, they are lying to you, hiding it from you. I don't know many people who have just flat out said that. So that to me is a very cool observation thing that he's done.
Mm-hmm. The next one was, I know we did the lack of oversight, but the whole historical awareness type part. And that was one thing he talk about. He said that the United States government has been aware of aliens and extraterrestrials since the 1930s.
I know.
Which was before Roswell.
Yeah.
And the thing is that Dr. Stephen Greer goes on to talk, but if you look up anything about him, he's got interviews of him talking about, he's like, everyone likes to talk about Roswell. He's like, we had recovered craft before then. And he said the 30s. He's like, it may have been he said, I believe it may have been like right on the cusp of the end of the 20s. A craft was recovered that was crashed.
Wow.
We didn't shoot it down. It crashed on its own. Like something obviously went wrong with it. Whatever the cause was, we have no idea, but it went down, and it had nothing to do with us.
It was oxygen.
War of the Worlds, man.
Yeah,
Why invade a planet where the atmosphere kills you? Makes no fucking sense. That's a plot hole.
It's a huge plot hole.
It's kind of like signs.
Yeah,
Hello,
water.
Water. Wait, or here to harvest the body? Wait, you're 70%. You're filled with water? We're not allergic to that at all. Swing away, Jim. The water.
Our planet is mostly water. We're gonna go there.
Yeah, makes sense. Let's go invade a planet that's the one filled with the one thing that kills us instantly. Logical.
Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan and his what a twist.
What a twist.
What a twist. Anyways, moving on from that. So so the last thing is basically the whole retaliation, intimidation. Grusch described facing severe retaliation for his disclosures, which referred to as administrative terrorism. He indicated these retaliatory tactics have been both professional and personal, but he refrained from providing specific details due to basically there's a bunch of investigations going on because he's also getting protection right now. So they're also investigating. So he's not saying details on it because that can compromise an investigation, which is facts. The last part about him, the last key thing is the physical harm to individuals. He was asked if anyone had been harmed or murdered to maintain the government, and Grusch responded affirmatively, suggesting that people have indeed been injured. He indicated that he had directed individuals with knowledge of such events to appropriate authorities. I remember watching that little tidbit of it, and there was another whistleblower who was doing the same thing that David Grusch is doing. And was saying like, no, we know that they've killed people about this. Like, if you're not ahead of them by going public, because that's the one thing that's been saving a lot of these people. That's why Bob Lazar saved his own ass by going public like he did. And it was a good thing he did. So since he was so publicized, they're like, shit, these people are really going to know, because this is at the first start of the rollout of this cusp of
and
this
now if he
narrative.
dies, it proves everything right.
Yeah, pretty much. It would put too many more microscopes onto the situation, you know? So yeah, so that's pretty much all I got to say about that.
The response from Congress is insane, though. They're considering to amend the defense bill in America, forcing disclosure of potential secret UFO programs. So they're trying to make it harder for people to disclose things and punish you for disclosing UFO.
Wait. Repeat that again?
So Congress is considering an amendment to the defense bill forcing disclosure of potential secret UFO programs. yes, we would say disclosure is something that means that you release all the documentation of it, right? But the amendment is actually making them less transparent and making it like punishable if you begin to whistleblow about UFOs.
How so?
By the defense bill, that they're making it to where if
I know, but everything you just said does not say that.
so if you actually read the defense bill on it.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I had ChatGPT read it, and it says something. It says if
you use ChatGPT to read it.
I'm not going to read the whole fucking thing right here, right now.
Don't trust that artificial
That's
intelligence.
fair.
That son of a bitch.
But it says, yeah, if people start talking about non-human technologies, yada yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, shit. Nah, I don't know. I don't know what to think of it right now.
They're trying to go for more transparency, but it'll end up being the other way around.
Yeah. So that's the first whistleblower, right? Or the second one. So let's move on from the whole aliens and UFOs. There's a lot of other ones that people should be aware of. Now, I was thinking we could touch on Boeing.
Ooh. Can we talk about how Boeing right now it has a spaceship stuck on the ISS because it broke?
What?
Yeah.
Oh, safety concerns.
They sent 4 astronauts up to the ISS, and they landed there, but once they got there, it can't go back.
Why?
Because it's so damaged.
Wow.
It's malfunctioning so they've been up there for like I think probably at this time like 54 days.
So they're just gonna be left up there.
Yeah, let me look at no problem.
Oh my god. Oh no, I'm having a flashback to when I learned about that Russian astronaut who went up there right before the I forgot what his name was. It was like when the UK and Russia like kind of like they split control, and so like he was like the country he flew up for, he was just left up there. And he was stuck up there for a long ass time. He was literally stuck in space for a long ass time, dude. Like a really long time before he got to come home. I don't remember his name, but that was a long time ago. But yeah, so the Boeing thing, while you're pulling up that stuff. So I wanted to talk about Sam Mohawk, and Boeing and Sarah. So Sam Mohawk was a quality assurance inspector at Boeing. He made significant allegations concerning the company's use of defective parts in newly built planes and the concealment of these parts from Federal Aviation Administration, which is the FAA. His revelations have intensified scrutiny on Boeing's, safety culture and practices following a series of other whistleblower disclosures about the company's safety issues. This report delves into Mohawk's allegations, the subsequent investigations, and the broader implications for Boeing and the aviation industry. So in the statement that basically sparked up all the concern is that, Sam alleged that Boeing used and concealed defective parts in the newly manufactured planes. And according to Mohawk, or Sam, the company was aware of these defective parts and took deliberate steps to hide them from FAA regulators.
Yeah.
He claimed his claims included accusations of moving faulty parts out of sight during inspections and falsifying records to ensure that these defects went unnoticed by safety officials.
That's so shitty. It sounds like a bad company that is just trying to hide fuck ups. They messed up and they're like, we don't want to get fined, so put it in the back of everything. Maybe they won't look back there.
Yeah, and that I've seen that whole narrative before.
Me too.
Every job I've ever worked at,
Absolutely,
they all do it.
It's standard practice.
Anyone who's any Boeing rep who gets up there in Congress or whatever during this whole thing and is going to say that this has never happened, I don't believe them in any capacity.
No, absolutely not.
And none. We've had several whistleblowers come forward. And then on top of that, just on a company level, not with Boeing, just companies in general, all companies hide shit. Every job I've ever worked in my life, every single one of them hid shit. Like there was many times that one of my jobs the job I worked at when I lived in Kansas, in the grain industry for grain elevators. There was a lot of shit that got swept under the rug and kept hidden, and all of it was massive safety concerns. And I'm talking about, then that's a dangerous industry to be in, because if you're not maintaining cleanliness and everything like that, like up in the head houses of these elevators, that's what caused the explosions, because of all the dust, the grain dust, because it's extremely flammable.
Yes, it is.
And then you get one compression to happen that causes it to combust itself and suspend, and just it doesn't take much. And boom, you got a big ass bomb going
You got a
off.
rocket going the other way.
Oh yeah, into the ground
Yeah.
or every other direction. Hey, that's my
Hey,
foot,
it's
bro.
footsies.
So yeah, did you find what you're looking for?
Yeah. So the rocket is called Starliner. It has launched 4 times so far. In 2019, it failed to reach orbit. In 2022, the thrusters did not fire. Last year, there are 2 more problems, issues with the parachute system. It didn't flow back to Earth well, and there was a potential fire risk. Apparently, all these issues were fixed, but on May 6th of this year, 2024, the year of our Lord, more problems appeared. A stuck valve on the rocket launcher Starliner had to be replaced, and mission engineers discovered that Starliner itself was leaking helium. Helium gas is used to pressurize Starliner's propulsion system, and enough to cause the helium to run out during the mission. So when all the systems were a go, it set off without a hitch on June 5th. Williams and Wilmore, the 2 individuals who, I said 4 earlier, it's only 2 individuals who were launched up into orbit. But as they got to ISS, 5 of the 28 reaction control system thrusters stopped. They shut themselves off. 5 out of 28 of the thrusters failed. So it ended up docking successfully. They're safe and sound on board right now, but they don't really have a way to come back. They are up there testing it consistently, trying to get the thrusters to work. But I mean, without a proper rocket mechanic shop, I guess you would call it, the JPL.
Where's Amanda?
Yeah, where's Amanda when we need
She's
her?
an airline mechanic.
We can send her up
She
there.
can
Huh?
get up there and get it done. Come on, Amanda. You know you want to.
But yeah, so on top of Boeing having issues with their passenger planes, their Airbuses, if you will, they're having problems with their rockets as well. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not wanting to be on anything that has a Boeing tag on it these days.
Yeah, well, they've lost over, I think it's like around 50% of their business.
I hope that they go under. They shouldn't be fucking lying and doing business like that. That is a not only a liability to individuals, that is a liability to, fuck it. Just humans. You don't want to kill people. That's crazy shit.
Yeah.
They trust you with their life. You've lost that trust. Bye-bye. Farewell.
Yeah. It's pretty fucked. It's pretty messed up.
And this document keeps saying the astronauts are not stranded. Yeah, they're pretty fucking stranded, dude. Like,
dude, if they don't have a way to leave right now, I call that being stranded.
that's like you driving to the store
My God.
with no phone and your car dies. And you're like, uh-oh, can't call an Uber, can't call my friends, I'm stranded.
And then 24 hours later, once you do get your vehicle moving and you're gone and you got assistance, they're like, and you go like, yeah, I was stranded for 24 hours. And they're like, well, you weren't really stranded. You were just waiting for the next available ride that was going to happen. Like, you weren't stranded, though. We were just trying to get it fixed.
Yeah, you're just waiting for the repair.
No, bitch. That's called being stranded.
We're not stuck here.
Just because someone gets stranded does not mean they're stuck there permanently forever.
We're just doing a long-term visit.
Oh my God.
Doing a long-term visit.
It's so silly.
It is silly. Hey, let's take a pee break. Would we? I gotta take a leak.
Yes. Actually, while you do that, if you want, I can read the
Yeah, absolutely.
testimonies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. All right, well, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to take a quick moment to talk about, or not even to really talk about, it's really just to read a really awesome email we received from a listener, and I'm going to give you that information. I butchered that so bad. Anyways, let's talk about this. So this came in from a listener named Dahlia, and she shared her awesome story, and it goes like this. I'm going to go ahead and read this out. She reached out and was like, hey, I have a Shadow Man story to share from my childhood. She goes on to say that growing up, we briefly lived in a U-shaped duplex with 4 or 5 units. The middle units were 2 stories that had windows along the hallway that looked down into the courtyard area where all the entrances were. At the time living there, it was my mom, brother, and eldest sister, who was about 17, and had a very active social life with many friends coming and going. My brother and I used to play with one of the kids in the 2-story units. His name was Angel, and the same age as us, between 8 and 9 years old. Time passed, we moved away, and while we did not attend the same elementary or middle school, we ran into him again in high school many years later. He asked how our sister was doing and told us one night while passing through the hallway getting some water, he had seen a shadow man standing outside of door. He figured it was just one of my sister's friends visiting or picking her up from for a costume party late at night and went to bed. But he described a tall shadow man with a wide-brimmed hat and a long dark coat standing outside of our door. Something that Angel didn't know, and the rest of the family, was that my sister was pregnant at the time and bouncing back and forth from mom and dad's house. I should mention that we are Hispanic, and some of the earliest memories of my mom are of her practicing something along the lines of white magic and Santeria. While living in that duplex townhome, also beknownst to Angel, is that my mom would have a curandero. Curandero? Is that how you say it? It's right here.
Curandero.
There, thank you. Bless our home and clean out any bad energy after having a series of really intense nightmares of an entity/energy following us. She contacted one after my sister started to say really bizarre things in passing. I was laying on the couch, my sister eating a sandwich with a knock at the door. My mom goes to open it, and my sister says, "No, don't open it. They're here for me and the baby." My mom paused for a few seconds and simply said, "Okay," and turned back into the kitchen. This was the mid-90s where teen pregnancies were still kind of hush-hush, so nobody outside of the family knew anything about a new baby. Now, I am not sure if my mom was aware of this shadow man, but she was obviously aware of some kind of negative energy or negative energy surrounding my sister and baby. And nor was Angel aware that my mother practiced in a cult, and that is not something you share on the daily. Thank you for reading, Dahlia. That's a fun story. I mean, I say fun, but it's fun as in I find it really interesting. Thank you for sharing it, by the way.
No, smartly and educated's mail corner.
Yeah, mail time.
Yeah,
story time. But yeah, no, thank you, Dahlia, for reading that out or sharing that with us and giving us permission to share it out on everything. So, yeah, we really appreciate it, and yeah, it's interesting. She seems really down to earth about it. She wasn't like harping on anything like in the emails we exchanged with her.
Yeah.
During figuring out if we're allowed to share it on the podcast and everything. But no, I mean, there's always I've heard of stories very similar to this before, not with the pregnancy aspect necessarily, but just this kind of narrative of just something that happened a long time ago, and it's just like this weird thing, and something was never right about it. Yeah, it's interesting.
Santeria is a religion where they sacrifice things and worship dark magic as well. So the fact that there might have been bad spirits or bad omens in the home and around the family makes sense to me, honestly. So again, thank you to Dahlia for sharing and reaching out to us. Again, if anybody has any story that they want to share with us or anything like that in general, please email us at smartlyandeducated@gmail.com. Again, it is a real email. That's what Dahlia has to say, at least.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get back to it, huh? Thank you for letting me go take a leak, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. I'll let you get back to it with Boeing real quick. I'm going to step out and go to the bathroom real quick.
Oh, now it's your turn, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I got nothing else to say. So there were testimonies and evidence that Sam Mohawk had to offer as well. Mohawk's testimony before the Senate committee provided detailed accounts of the malpractice he observed. Observed. It's more like observed. Am I right, guys? He stated, "As a quality assurance inspector, my duty is to ensure the safety and reliability of the aircraft. However, I witnessed numerous instances of defective parts were knowingly used and subsequently concealed from regulatory bodies. I think that we have already read this one. The impact and reactions. The allegations by Mohawk have had a significant impact on Boeing's reputation and have led to increased regulatory scrutiny. Senator Richard Blumenth, of a Democrat in Connecticut, chair of the Senate Subcommittee on Aviation and Space. Christ, am I boring y'all to death yet or what? expressed grave concerns, stating these allegations suggest a troubling disregard for safety standards at Boeing. We must thoroughly investigate to ensure the safety of the flying public. Now, saying that is one thing, actually acting on it is another. The fact that people have to actually announce these and get threatened with their life is a hell of a concern for American citizens and the world citizens, because I'm pretty positive Boeing's all around the world or in most of the civilized countries. Challenges that Mr. Sam Mohawk has faced since coming forward with his allegations. Mohawk has faced substantial retaliation, including isolation at work, which to me sounds pretty fucking great. Leave me alone. And threats to his job security. He remarked, whistleblowing is never easy, especially against a powerful entity like Boeing. The backlash has been intense, but the safety of the passengers must come first. Now, that is a man and a person that I respect. If he is able to say everybody's safety is way more important than this little ass company, granted, this company is a big company, but still, he has something to say. He wants to do it. He's going to stand up for what is right. We need more people like Sam Mohawk to come forward. With that being said, anybody listening to the sound of my voice, if you have any illicit practices or any sort of whistleblowing that you think needs to be lamented to society, please reach out. We will make you anonymous. We'll hide your voice if you really want. Please reach out. More people need to start talking up about their companies and the things in this world that are subsequently having huge ramifications on the well-being of individuals. Hey, it looks like Ben's back in the room and does not like his beer. He got a bad beer over there, boys. But yeah, I mean, hello, everybody. It's me. While we're talking about whistleblowing, we need to be thinking about people in the world. Because without whistleblowers, we would not have any sort of safety protocols. That is why they are so direly important. Whistleblowing has started because of the French, as I mentioned earlier. They started doing it because their government was corrupt. Our government is probably corrupt in America. I say they are corrupt. So we need to also start whistleblowing on our own society. Say, fuck the regime, fuck these people, and stand up for what's right. Whistleblow on aliens, whistleblow on Boeing, whistleblow on the military complex. Reach out and speak your mind.
And don't forget about the censorship complex, too.
Absolutely. People being censored all across America, all across the world. If you have proof that they are doing it on purpose to spite somebody or to spite an entire idea, that needs to be yelled out into the masses. We need to be putting people up on soapboxes to be screaming these into the void so that people will hear it.
Yes, sir. I agree with that 100%. In fact, there's a whole bunch of other areas that people need to be blowing the whistle on. I actually have quite a few people that we're about to dive into that, everything from the oil industry.
The EPA definitely needs to be looked at.
Yep. That Ohio. There's one that I really
Paul Jayko. Yeah.
One I really want to talk about was Paul Jayko. And then there's this Peter
Syphilis
Buxton.
Experiment. What the fuck?
Yeah, this one's an older one, but it holds its weight still now. It's very interesting. So with that being said,
also Tuskegee is fun to say.
So did you already finish out, Sam?
Yeah, for the most part,
Boeing?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an ongoing thing right now with the whole Boeing stuff. So there's going to be more and more to come with that. The next person I guess we'll talk about is Paul Jayko. And this one I really want to talk about because it's fucked up is what it is. So Paul Jayko is an environmental specialist with the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency, or also known as an EPA. He brought to light a critical health and safety issue involving public schools in Marion, Ohio.
What?
Yeah, his investigation revealed that these schools were built on former Army toxic waste dump sites.
God damn.
A discovery that pointed to significant health risks for the local community. Despite the importance of his findings, Jayko's case has not received like any media coverage.
This is specifically at River Valley High in Marion,
Yeah.
Ohio.
So in the course of Jayko's investigation and his findings, so in the course of his work, Jayko investigated the high incidence of cancer among students and staff in Marion area. His research led to him to conclude that there was a strong potential for human health risk due to the presence of toxic waste at the school sites. He recommended that the Ohio EPA conduct further environmental tests to assess the severity of the contamination and take immediate action to mitigate the risks.
Man, poor Ohio. They just keep getting bombed with toxic waste and stuff, dude.
Oh yeah, dude.
That train derailment and now
and you know, no one talks about that anymore.
it's fucking crazy.
Which I think is weird because all that water's poisoned.
All of America's water is poisoned. because of
Yeah.
that.
Well, I mean, we were already getting poisoned before, man. We already know it's already known now that putting fluoride in the water, there's enough evidence now starting to blossom showing like this is causing massive health issues.
Yeah, go look at Arkansas people's teeth, dude.
Dude, that's called meth. All right.
Well, even if they're not a drug user,
Fluoride's good for your teeth. It's not very good for your insides.
it's not good for your teeth.
I'm just kidding. Well, am I though? You like how just so you guys know, I'm drinking out of a fucking mason jar.
That's a yeehaw moment right there.
Yeah,
That's a
God.
yeehaw
You
moment.
goddamn right, motherfucker.
Bing, ding, 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 ding,
Man, I
ding,
saw
ding, ding,
Scooter.
ding, 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 ding,
Hey,
ding,
yeah.
ding, ding,
I
ding,
saw
ding,
Scooter come out of that woodwork earlier, man. And when I saw him, I said, "Yo, man, you got one of them mason jars in there?" And he's like, "Oh, what do you need a mason jar for? You trying to pickle some stuff?"
What do you
And I said,
mean?
"No, I ain't pickling nothing, dog. What I need to do is I need something to drink out of so I can wet my whistle whenever I need to." And he goes, "Oh, you need a drinking jar." And I said, "Yes, sir, I do." And then he came over to me and he goes, "Here you go, Ben. Here's a mason jar. Drink your beer from that." Here I am.
And here we are. Will Jebediah. I'm glad.
It even tastes more delicious. It's great on the palate. Anyways, moving on. Sorry, couldn't help myself. So let's jump into some of his key allegations because this is really fucked up. It's so fucked up. So,
That's the whole fucking point about having a whistleblower.
Oh no, it's
get
already fucked up.
If you
I
get
know.
something, if you find or have a thought that something is not right, there are plenty of organizations in this country to help guide you in the right direction, help guide you to some sort of outcome. Even if you might be having a fucking schizophrenic moment and you're like, the fucking crocodiles are talking to me and it's happening near the U.S. Air Force Base, call the fucking EPA, call somebody. Call your
Yeah.
local therapist, probably.
Yeah, no shit.
But this shit needs to be talked about. This shit needs to be shared and pushed out to the masses.
Hell,
in the
I
world.
can share a little whistleblower story here at the end.
Oh yeah, dude.
One that I did on an old job of mine.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, that's why I don't work there anymore. It didn't go that great.
Yeah, that's what happens with whistleblowers sometimes.
Yeah, I blew the whistle just because it was some really fucked up shit.
That's why you got to go to the proper organizations, companies to protect you.
Yeah.
That way you don't lose your job.
Well, I wish I'd known that at the time.
Well, jumping Jehoshaphat, they done got me again.
Jehoshaphat, get away from Joseph's fat. He needs it.
I'm proud of you there, Ben. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of
That
myself
was
too.
good. Self-control.
Anyways, moving on. So key allegations, with Paul Jayko and this whole EPA situation, the toxic waste from the old Army sites, the school that's underneath this school. So Jayko discovered that the public schools were constructed on, obviously, the land previously used by used as an Army toxic waste dump. And due to the potential exposure of students and staff to hazardous substances, which linked to elevated cancer rates in the area. He emphasized that the urgent need for comprehensive environmental testing, stating all of his findings, indicated, a significant contamination. Jayko's reports underscored the likelihood that the toxic substances present, I don't know why I said present, substances present could pose severe health risks. And everything had to be worded. So that's another thing, another detail in this about this. So everything had to be worded. There's a lot of wordplay that had to happen, right? Because since he was going through these channels, and that was one of the things that I was reading about when I was researching this whole situation. So originally when he was blowing the whistle, he did not say could at all. He was saying, no, it is. Like, these are my findings.
Yeah.
He's like, the moment that school was being used, everyone in there started getting all these fucking cancer just started coming out of the asshole all of a sudden. Like, crazy. And then there was other, like, little minute health issues that weren't even a part of cancer part.
Especially if most young people or children are getting cancer. They are the healthy bodies. They shouldn't be getting riddled with cancer at a higher rate than adults.
Like for instance, if so let's say you have, like, a school of, let's say, 1,000 kids.
Yeah.
Total. Like, the whole school district. 1,000 kids. And before anyone, like, the percentage of kids, the average kid, to just have cancer in that school would be under 1%, without a doubt. It would be like 0 point something percent, right? You may have one case of cancer come up in the course of 20 years. You know, if a student there who got diagnosed with
I would say that's fair.
it's
yeah.
very on
I'd
the
say
low
that's
end,
fair.
right? But this, we're talking like 10%, 15%. We're talking a huge chunk of students.
Huge number.
Like, and don't hold me to the 10 or 15%. I don't know what the exact percentage was, but it was not the normal. It was not
noticeable.
0.0 whatever. It was, or 0 point whatever percent. It was in the 1 to 2 digit percent range.
It was enough to make this guy say something's fucking wrong here.
Yeah, like, without even having to, like, you know, it was one of those situations where when he started seeing how many people had it, he was like, it wasn't even like, hey, something's wrong. It's like, something is definitely wrong here.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is beyond normal. Like, this, how is no one else going, what the fuck is this? Because there's more to this. I know that some of the people that he was going to, and I'm not going to try to quote names or organizations just because I'll butcher that. Oh, my bad. I'm not going to try to quote names or organizations. I'm going to butcher that. But I know that there at the beginning, he started reaching out to people, and there was at least 1 or 2 times at the beginning part of his whistleblowing where they were like, don't say anything. Like, be quiet. Like, pretty much slap your hand down for raising your hand up to be like, hey, I noticed something. Slap. Like, nope. So that right there, there's people knew about it. They're just trying not to say shit. It's really, it's deplorable. It's immoral. It's unethical. It's deplorable. I don't know what word vocabulary to use right now to really emphasize how fucked up and wrong this is.
Is this school still open?
I believe so.
Let me look.
I believe it is. Or it may not be. I'm not quite sure. Anyways, moving on. So the administrative retaliation part, right? So following the course of after he just did all of his disclosures, Jayko faced like massive retaliation from, one, superiors at the Ohio EPA. His responsibilities started getting reduced. He received notice of potential suspension and termination. And that right there, like, literally laid out, showing, basically just highlighting the systemic issues within the agency regarding the handling of whistleblower complaints and the protection of those who expose wrongdoing. The fact that the EPA started punishing him for saying, like, bringing the truth to light, like, hey, you're poisoning children. What the fuck's wrong with you? Yeah, fuck all these people. See, this is
still open. The school's still open.
Yeah, like, I thought it was, but it's very, it's all fucked. But moving on, to just kind of.
Was there any closure? Did anything happen? Anything come from it?
Well, that's what I'm getting to it right now.
Gotcha.
So here, let's jump into the impact and kind of the reactions of it. So by him doing what he did, it led to increased scrutiny of the Ohio EPA's practices. Despite the lack of widespread media coverage, his case has drawn attention from environmental advocacy groups and whistleblower protection organizations. These groups have rallied to support Jayko, advocating for greater transparency, blah, blah, blah. Now, on the legal and professional side of things, when it comes to like consequences that have kind of unfolded. So with the help of whistleblower attorneys and support from the National Whistleblower Center, or NWC, Jayko fought against the retaliation he faced. His efforts culminated in a favorable settlement that included full compensation and his reassignment with the Ohio EPA. So basically, he not only won in court, like he won, he proved that, like, yeah, I was not lying. They're just trying to punish me for exposing them, literally giving kids cancer at an alarming rate. But yet the school's still open. Like, is anything being done? That's the real question.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't think
they're
so.
like, yeah, you're right, Jayko, but the school cost us like $400 million to make. We're gonna keep it open. It's now like a use at your own risk.
Well, the thing is about this whole case, it's still ongoing. Like, it's still being investigated. They're still collecting information. This is a pretty recent thing. This isn't 30 years ago or 20 years ago.
Well, yeah, they only found in 1990 is when the military base was there dumping their waste. So it could have been, well, it's 24 years now, maybe 34 years at this point.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how long the school's been open, so that has a lot to do with it in that case.
Yeah. So the next one, did you want to do another one of mine, or do you want to do?
No, we can do one of yours.
Okay, so I wanted to jump into.
Camera's on me though.
I know. I wanted to jump into Jackie real quick before we did anything else, because Jackie,
the DOD whistleblower.
yeah, because Jackie so Jackie Garrick and the department. So she whistleblew on the DOD, Department of Defense. She is also the one she is the founder of Whistleblowers of America. She's the one who founded that group that plays a vital role now into whistleblowers and protecting them and giving them support.
Well, you got to remember, Jackie Garrick was a 30-year veteran military individual as well. So she's another person who was very reputable. She was like a political appearances. She worked at the Pentagon for 8 years. So this woman has been around the block. She's back again. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. So just to kind of give a little intro to her, I know I said that she was the founder of Whistleblowers of America. You had talked about her career a little bit.
Wounded Warriors, Defense Suicide Prevention.
Yep. She brought to light, her efforts brought to light significant issues within the Department of Defense related to treatment of veterans and the culture of whistleblower retaliation.
Yep.
Garrett's advocacy has led to the creation of support networks for other whistleblowers and ongoing campaigns for improved protections. So, and like you had said earlier, she had this very long military career. So she, her career spanned over like basically 30 years, to the military and veteran community. She worked in various capacities, Army social work office, a political appointee at the Pentagon, like you had said, and then organizations such as American Legion and the House Committee on Veterans Affairs. And her work focused on establishing personnel programs for wounded warriors, like you had mentioned them earlier, crisis hotlines in Afghanistan, and inclusion of initiatives. Yeah, Jackie Garrick has done a fuckload for people.
She really, really has.
I hope that she's in the history books.
And guess what?
What?
She's a redhead.
Oh, she's got all that gold in her hair,
dude,
motherfucker.
Closer to the gold, closer to the gods, closer to the alien hybrid. She's smart as fuck, dude.
Dude, DJ Osiris came down here. He's like, all right, dude. I'm here for this. You want to do some space ecstasy? Because I got like... So stupid.
We can get her email. We can email Jackie right now.
Yeah. No, Jack, I would love to have a conversation with her. But no, her whole thing is really important. So
her email's redacted.
So this is her whistleblowing incident that took place. So while working at DOD's Defense Suicide Prevention Office, or the DSPO, Garrick uncovered and reported instances of fraud, waste, and abuse. She highlighted issues such as mismanagement of funds, inefficiencies in suicide prevention programs, and retaliatory practices against those who raise concerns. Despite her efforts to address these issues internally, Garrick faced significant retaliation, including a hostile work environment and eventual termination from her position. They fired her.
Yeah.
And then before that even happened, she was getting harassed, verbally, physically imposed. There's a little bit more detail to that. I wasn't going to go into that because that's like a treasure trove.
I
right?
found her
Like,
resume.
Oh, hell yeah, brother. So she did end up having a legal battle about her whistleblowing stuff with DOD, and she won because she was telling the truth. And the fact that any of that shit was happening is fucked up. But so Garrick's legal battle against the DOD was lengthy and complex. She initially filed complaints with the Merit Systems Protection Board, or MSPB, and later pursued disability retirement through the Office of Personnel Management, or OPM. In 2020, after obtaining additional evidence through the Freedom of Information Act, the FOIA, an administrative judge ruled in her favor, recognizing the retaliation she faced and awarding. Yeah.
Yeah, no shit, right?
So, due to FOIA, documents got released that proved that she was being, literally hostile, being treated hostilely, verbally abused, like the works. It was all there, like icing on the cake, man. And it
proved that she was being forthright and honest.
Yeah.
That what more can you ask, right? That's perfect.
And then, so in response to her experience and recognized the need for support, Garrick founded Whistleblowers of America in 2017, which then provides peer support, education, and training for whistleblowers, and blah, blah, blah. We already talked about that. So, her doing what she did and then like starting WA and all these things in 2017 has made significant impacts for the whistleblower community. She developed resources such as whistleblower retaliation checklists.
Yep.
And has been actively involved in educational initiatives to prevent hostile work environments. Her advocacy extends to engaging with media and policymakers to highlight the systemic issues faced by whistleblowers and the push for stronger protections. Yeah, and so, but...
So you're telling me she's the reason why I can't beat up my coworkers? I kind of don't like her anymore.
I don't think that's...
I can't talk shit to my coworkers, dude.
I think you can thank Mothers of America for that. Okay.
Moms.
Way to go, Mom. Way to go. But last thing on her, so basically, she does have some publications and recognition. She has authored several, publications addressing the psychosocial impacts of whistleblower retaliation and the need for systemic change. Her work includes books and articles on resilience, trauma treatment, and the toxic tactics used against whistleblowers. She has received multiple awards for her service and advocacy, including the Lincoln Award and the Secretary of Defense Medal for Exceptional Public Service. No, she's a bad bitch.
I'm thoroughly impressed by her, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I like this chick. Lady. She's a lady. She's not a chick. She's a lady.
She's a human.
She's a lady. She's a lady. She has class. Come on, get with the times, man. Boy, it was the times late. Oh, wait, never mind.
No, she's a badass, dude.
She's a badass, bro.
Badass of the month.
So, anyways, that's all I got on that for now. For her, I just wanted to touch on it because I felt like talking about her was really important. Given the fact that this is about whistleblowing, she founded Whistleblowers of America.
She's the reason.
And went toe to toe with DOD. And I mean, come on. I mean, you're going toe to toe with DOD. You got to talk about it. Like, just a little bit. Is there anyone you want to talk about? If not, I want to talk about the Tuskegee Syphilis Experiment.
I had that one as well. So, yeah.
Okay. So, the next whistleblower, man, we're going to make so many cuts of this episode of each whistleblower and just upload the whole segment of that whistleblower to the Tiki Talks. Tickety Talks. So...
That was cool, dude. That was cool.
Thanks, bro.
That was very relevant.
I got that talking tick going. Anyways, moving on. So this next whistleblower, his name is Peter Buxton, and he is a former employee of the U.S. Public Health Service. He played a crucial role in exposing the unethical Tuskegee Syphilis Experiment.
Yeah.
Now, this is an older whistleblower event that took place. This is an older one.
Yeah,
So
1960s. It's not that old, truly. Like, people are still alive from 1960.
oh, I'm saying that I'm talking about timelines of whistleblowers. This is definitely one hasn't happened recently. This is
I think
like
the
in
oldest
past
one
20
was like
years.
1883. They were talking about like gasoline usage or something of that sort.
Yeah, yeah. So I forgot where I was.
Well,
Oh, that's right. So this study conducted from 1932 to 1972 involved the deliberate withholding of treatment from African American men suffering from syphilis. That's fucked up. Buxton's whistleblowing efforts ultimately led to the termination of the study and significant reforms in medical research ethics.
No, that's that shit I'm talking about, dude. That's the whole point of whistleblowing, brother. Call the shit out, it gets fixed, and it becomes better.
I mean, you'd
Come
like to
on.
think it will.
Come on. Well, hopefully Boeing will get shut off and they'll make a better Boeing. It'll be like,
Make a better
it'll
Boeing.
be called Going. Going places.
Going strong or going safe
Going places.
that are safe or while being safe. There you go.
We'll get you there safe. Go.
You know what, Boeing? You should have us be your new PR guys for your new model going forward.
That's right. It's just spelled
Yeah.
Goen.
Fly Boeing today,
No, going.
but not tomorrow because you'll be dead. Hey, sorry, that was us in 2024. It's 2025 now, and now you can go to point A and point B, but don't try to go to point C. We can't guarantee
Look
that.
at OSHA in our factories. They're looking at our products. They say it's safe. Thumbs up.
We got approved by everyone in Congress, and you know how much we trust them.
And how much we paid them.
Dude,
Transparency, baby.
why don't we just become lobbyists? Come on, they're all got all the money and shit. How do I become a lobbyist? Let's corporatize.
Pay
on this
me
shit.
guns. Wait,
Wait, what?
but
I love guns.
I said pay me guns.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. What the fuck does that mean? Pay me guns.
Use less words, talk less. Good.
Yes. Hot
Kevin from The Office is what's happening right now.
My man released a cooking video, like a cooking book too, and it's good.
Oh yeah, Kevin did.
Yeah.
Oh, the actor who played
Yeah.
Kevin. Nice. Anyways, let's get into Peter. Yeah, Peter Buxton. So in the mid 1960s, Buxton, then a venereal disease investigator, learned about the Tuskegee Syphilis Experiment from colleagues. Shocked by the unethical nature of the study, which denied treatment to infected men, even after penicillin became the standard cure in 1947, Buxton raised his concerns with his superiors. He initially filed an official protest in November of 1966, pointing out the unethical violations and the severe health consequences for the participants. Despite his efforts, PHS officials dismissed his concerns, opting to continue the study to observe the full progression of untreated syphilis.
That's 20 years.
Yeah.
1947 and 1966. That's 20 years that young black men were dying of syphilis, and they had the cure the whole time, and they were refusing to give it to them. That's despicable, dude. That's fucked up. That's
Yeah.
people. Those individuals, I'm sure, are long gone and dead now, but hopefully they are being eaten by worms.
What pisses me off about whistleblowers, or not whistleblowers, but the people who are doing the wrong that get the whistle blown on. Some of these people, by the time it comes around, right, and the whistleblowing's taking place, whoever's blowing the whistle on it, the people who are actually the ones who are the centerpiece of the issue, who are causing the problem,
Yep.
who pulled the strings, made the green light, well, they no longer work there. Some are retired, shit like that, because they've been doing it for a long time. And it's like, and some of them are still alive, they're just retired, but they're untouchable because they no longer work at Boeing.
Yep.
It's like, well, you're talking about this issue and you're saying it goes back to then, but pretty much it's the whole concept of like, you could stand in front of a cop and be like, yeah, I've smoked weed before,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not doing it right now.
Yeah, dude.
Like, what are you going to do?
Like, I'm high right now, brother. You can't get me.
Oh, actually, you could for public, whatever.
If I was driving,
or was it what's the word for it?
Public intoxication.
Not intoxication. It's under the public under the influence in public or something like that. I forgot what it's called. There's a stupid thing they could try to slap on you, or not even try. They can. They will. If you were to be like, yeah, I'm stoned right now, dude. You know, and they'd be like, all right, dude.
All right, bucko.
All right, turn around. Let me see them wrists. Oh, are we sizing for cufflinks? No, you high bastard. Put on these handcuffs.
No, you idiot.
Anyways, so yeah, so basically they kept doing it. That literally there at the end we said that they dismissed his concerns and then chose to continue the study of what untreated syphilis looks like, and they're only doing it on African American men.
Yeah, so in those 20 years, he failed. He didn't succeed in those 20 years. He took more.
Are you talking about right here?
Yeah, he took more
Do you want to
drastic.
read that part?
I am.
Oh, okay.
He took more drastic. That's tight, dude.
Well, you're not reading it. You're just grabbing random pieces from it,
Yeah,
so I don't know where you're at.
That's called reading, dude. That's called having a discussion, brother.
I worked hard on this. Use every word and every syllable. Syllable.
After internal protest failed, Buxton decided to take more drastic actions in 1972.
Well, you
He
just
leaked-
lost all of our listeners and all of our subs. So thank you.
Well, so he failed, right? He failed
yeah.
in 20 years. He fucked it up. He took way more drastic actions. And in 1972, he leaked details of the Gene Heller report to the Associated Press. And Heller's subsequent article, published in July 25th in 1972, exposed the horrifying details of the study to the public, which incited widespread outrage. The media pressured a government to halt the experiment immediately. So finally, this guy was like, here's a document that's proving this shit is working. Well, that it's not working, that they're killing all these young black men. And finally, they're like, oh, we're Fox News. I guess we'll take this article now and run with it since you said it. And here's a perfect example of it.
Same with the CNN's bastards.
That's exactly right.
All the media.
This guy's been protesting in the streets, protesting to Congress and all this stuff, and wham bam, thank you, ma'am. They weren't listening to him.
So here's the impact of this whole thing. So after Buxton did his thing, all of his reveals that he did had obviously very profound effects on everything. By the time the study was terminated, 28 people had died from syphilis, 100 more from related complications, and the disease had been transmitted to at least 40 spouses and 19 children. Wow.
It involved 600 black men.
Yeah.
399 of whom had latent syphilis and 201 who were control subjects. The men were promised free health care to participate, but investigators never told them they had syphilis, even though penicillin was a cure, right?
Yeah.
40 wives and 19 children. God. I hate that shit, dude.
I know, dude. It's so fucked up. And the thing is that it says the public outcry led to congressional hearings in 1973 where Buxton and PHS officials testified. It resulted in a $10 million out-of-court settlement for the victims and their families and prompted the establishment of new ethical guidelines for human subjects. $10 million enough, man. You took people's lives. Like, you took away people's fathers.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you poisoned their families.
Bloodline.
You know, like you got their 19 children and 40 fucking spouses have it, man. Now, granted, I'm sure they all went and got the treatment to get rid of syphilis, you know. I'd assume at that point, but you know that it's a really horrible one.
So syphilis, do you know what happens to your body when you have it?
Lay it out to me like I'm a child.
You know when you get sick and you're in bed and you're shaking and you have a hot fever? You have that all the time.
Oh shit.
You know when mommy and daddy like to have the door locked and you hear the grunting coming from the inside of the room? Sex hurts whenever you have syphilis.
So you're saying they opened up that mummy case that had the curse on the penis?
That's right, baby.
Where it's like, if you open this, your dick will hurt when having sex.
I thought you were a child that I'm trying to explain this to.
I am a child. I'm talking about dick jokes here. Anyway, keep going.
Abnormal discharge from the genitals.
I hate you so much. Literally taking a drink and all of a sudden, abnormal discharge from genitals. Well, I think I got that problem. I might have syphilis.
Severe itching or swelling around the genitals.
Ooh.
And painful urination. So these individuals, these men, these women, these children had all these things. Well, granted, I hope the children weren't having the painful sex, but I'm sure that they were all having these issues of discharge coming from the genitals and painful urination. That just sounds all horrific. And to die from that, right? You have the fever and the chills, and you're just spitting pus out of your dick. Oh!
No. I know it's not a laughing matter, but dude.
Christ almighty.
Grow the fuck up, Evan. Why do you have to be so graphic about stuff?
I'm trying to
Gross.
I'm trying to put the severity of the situation at
I
play
know.
here, right?
You're doing a good job.
This individual, Peter Buxton, did outstanding work by standing up for what was right. He might have been looked down upon, maybe fired from his work, but good Lord.
Yeah. It's fucked.
I salute that man.
I salute that man. So we have I mean, so when it comes to the whole whistleblower stuff, we have like two people left technically. I mean, and some of them, it just kind of, it may just be a revolving door aspect.
at
I
this
mean, it's
point,
on
right?
different things, of course, but
Maybe we should just say their names and what they did, right?
yeah. So I want to talk about.
I have a few here as well that I can just read off what they did and what their names are.
Yeah, so there was one. I'm trying to remember which one he was. I want to say it was. This is the one I really wanted to do. I don't want to breeze over this one.
Anadarko Petroleum.
Yeah. So Lea Frye, she is the whistleblower. She was a former senior reservoir engineer at Anadarko Petroleum Corporation. And she brought to light significant allegations of fraudulent overstatement of oil reserves by the company's executives.
Wow.
And she had whistleblowing efforts, which included filing a complaint with the Securities and Exchange Commission in 2016, and raised serious questions about corporate transparency and investigative protection. Despite the gravity of her claims, Frye's case has not received any form of extensive media coverage. And there's similar corporate scandals that have garnered coverage, but hers isn't, and it has to do with big oil. That's why.
Does it say? Did you find out how much money that they were getting from this oil field?
I was getting mixed stuff on different sites, so I don't know what the actual true number is.
This is $100 million.
Yeah, don't worry. It was a very high range.
Yeah.
I know one was saying around 100 million. I know I saw one that was like, it's like $250 million. But I didn't know what time frame that was. I didn't know if this was like an updated thing or is this what they're trying to claim? Was the statement from the beginning? Because
The latest one that I found on it is 2020.
And that's the 100 million?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's just go with 100 million for conversation's sake right now.
Gotcha.
Just so we have a number to throw with it. So people keep in mind it may be more than 100 million.
I stand corrected.
Oh.
So as you go down the article, it says 2020, that was the initial payment for the oil field that she's calling out. They ended up making $37 billion in 2019.
Wow. A
lot of fucking money.
Yeah, everyone tries to talk about how like Oprah or Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg are like Jeff Bezos are the wealthy people of the world. No, the truest wealthiest people of the world are the oil companies and Saudi Arabian princes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no telling how much money they have. It's like limitless. Like it literally has no limit. It's endless. It's far more than the Elon Musk, or Bezos or any of them. But anyways, moving on. So Frye's allegations. So in 2016, she filed a detailed complaint with the SEC, alleging that Anadarko Petroleum's executives had engaged in fraudulent stuff to overstate the value of the company's oil reserves. The overstatement was aimed at inflating the company's stock prices and misleading investors about the company's true financial health. Frye's allegations also included claims of insider trading by top executives, Pelosi, who benefited financially from artificially inflated stock prices. And then, dude, the insider trading thing is such bullshit. Sorry, I was about to tangent the people in Congress and the congressmen and women we have. You know, you make a $200,000 a year salary, but yet you have millions upon millions of dollars. Oh, yeah, and you have stocks and investments that you do with other companies that are being run and forefronted by other people in Congress. Oh, God. You couldn't possibly be doing some type of insider trading with that.
Would you? No way. Would you?
So fucking fucked up. So Frye provided comprehensive evidence to support her claims. You know, everything from internal documents and communications, and, you know, that straight up demonstrated, you know, all the deliberate efforts to mislead all the investors. Her testimony, she did state in there that, in quote, the manipulation of reserve estimates was not an isolated incident, but a systemic practice endorsed at the highest levels of the company. The deceitful behavior has not only defrauded investors, but also jeopardized the integrity of the market.
So you're telling me that you wouldn't take this knowledge that you got and put all your money down on some stock that they tell you is going to go skyrocket high?
I'm not going to answer that.
Right? How do you not? How do you?
Yeah,
how
but
do
if
you
I
pass
did,
that up?
I'm not gonna lie, dude. If I was in that position and I had that opportunity, I'm not gonna say I would or I wouldn't, but if I did, I'd be bailing the fuck out after I got a payout.
Absolutely.
I'd be bailing the fuck. I'd be done. I'd be like, yep, done. See ya.
Not saying that I would ever take some insider knowledge and have a personal gain from it, but I would probably tell all of my friends and family as well about it, and everybody I know.
Everyone.
Hey guys, put however much you can into undisclosed stock market signal here.
Insert name here. But yeah.
I would. I mean, allegedly. So I can't really hate them for doing it. I could definitely hate them for getting caught. If you're so blatant about this and you're getting gifted $200 million from the U.S. government to bail you out because your stock market crashed, but you're inflating your stock anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense.
Now that is where I draw the line.
Yeah.
Is the bailouts.
Oh yeah, the fact that the bailouts are even a thing that are allowed,
Asinine.
is fucking ridiculous. Yeah, so we did the whole testimony part, read her little statement on there. So some of the impact with it is that, despite all of the allegations, Frye's case basically just flew under the radar. And then also having lack of media coverage, it contrasts with other, really high profile corporate scandals. So the discrepancy has led to concerns about the selective attention given to whistleblower cases and the influence of corporate power on media narratives. But we already know that the media is owned. Mm-hmm. Every single one of them's owned. Every single one of mainstream media is owned, and they only put on there what they're told to put on.
Yeah, that's why you can watch all of them say the same exact thing over and over, going on a repeat on different channels.
Yeah, it's owned by the same people.
Yeah, they're all
same
the same
people are all pulling strings,
yeah.
Just playing the game on both sides of the fence.
It's all propaganda pushed to your face. America is the best at it. That makes me wonder why we haven't done it to the cartel yet and propagandize them to make them kill each other. But that's another topic.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's stupid shit. So, what was it? So the corporate response, that's an important one. So Anadarko Petroleum denied the allegations, saying that their reserve estimates were in line with industry standards and compiled. Yeah. Oh, we're in line with industry standards. Yeah, well, guess what? Some of those industry standards, the laws and rules written in there haven't been rewritten in a long time. And there's all these open-ended, like, gray areas, loopholes, because it never got adjusted with the times and the growth and the expansion. Everything from, everything plays a role in that, from economy to resource management, how it became more available or less available as time went on, to all of a sudden, the company expansion itself, all the way to tech innovation, things of that nature. For everything, all of it plays a role. So them saying like, oh, we're within the company standards, yeah, you're stating that when we all know that, I mean, well, not everyone knows, I guess, but the company standards they're referring to, they're a bunch of dog shit. It's literally ones that they can work around, but still try to act like they're doing it correctly.
Well, yeah, that's what
Isn't that just what every bill that they pass in Congress is
yeah,
about?
I was just about to say that's what every bill is for. That's what all these regulations are for, is for them to say, we are trying to tell them what to do, but they're not doing it.
Yeah.
We will find them eventually. It's like there's a company, I can't think of the name right now. They get fined every year for the same exact thing, but it's cheaper for them to get fined than to fix the problem. So the problem may be dumping sewage into the ocean. They get fined for it, but the fine is cheaper than for them to find the proper way to dispose of it.
Yeah.
So they take the fine every year.
Yeah. Nah.
Same concept, right? Same exact concept.
Yeah.
Though they skirt the laws to benefit themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And, a lot of people in this, and especially when it comes to like the corporate side of things and these scandals and the fraudulent things that take place, insider trading, I've heard it so many times where people instantly go to the point of going, oh, it's because of capitalism. That's the reason why. I'm like, no, capitalism has nothing to do with this. Because even if it wasn't capitalism, it doesn't matter. Even if it was like, let's say it was a socialism type scale, that would be even worse, because it's fucking socialism, which means you're only going to get X, Y, and Z no matter what across the board. One bare line. That's it. Whereas the people who are in charge are going to take everything for themselves. And it's going to be at a much higher alarming rate. Talk about the level of corruption would be tenfold than what it is now at that point.
You think so?
Oh, without a fucking doubt. Only the thing is that it would be into a point where they would have total control. Like, I'm talking about beyond control. Whereas, like, right now, let's say you're working a job, they don't want to give you a pay raise, right? They don't. You've been working for 5 years, working your ass off. And they're like, oh, we don't want to give you a promotion. We don't want to do this because you're not brown-nosing the manager, right? And then it's like, okay, well, then fine, fuck it. I hit my limit. I'm going to go get another job with all this years of experience. I know there's a company out there. It's a free market. I know there's another company out there where I could go get a job and they're going to pay me what my skills and experience are worth. In a socialism type structure, that doesn't exist. You're going to get one flat rate no matter what, unified across the board, the entire nation. Doesn't matter your experience level, doesn't matter your fucking skill level. Plain and simple. That's what it always ends up being. Every country that has tried to do socialism and that type of structure, one equal pay, everyone gets the same. So you could have Joe Schmo over here not doing a goddamn thing. He's going to get he's earning the same paycheck you are. Well, you're the one who's doing all the work. You're the one who has the skill. You're the one who knows your shit. But you're never allowed to be rewarded for that. What? Some outliers of people will move up into a higher position. Yeah, now you're going to get paid this across the board like every other manager. Like, for instance, my job, for instance, I run damn near everything, right? If we were in a socialism type platform, I would be making what I got hired in at. I would never be making more. I don't maybe less than that. Fuck.
We're getting sidetracked.
I'm just saying.
I don't think that's correct. I don't think that's correct. But
it is very much.
We got
so.
sidetracked. Yeah.
That's what happens in every single country that tries to push that shit. It ends up blowing up in their fucking faces and falling apart. And in on the financial scale, stuff like this whole exchange rate of currency for services gets heavily fucked up because they take advantage of it. People in higher places, because they have the authority to, they can. It's what everyone voted into place, or they didn't vote and it just got imposed into place, dictatorship style. One of the two. Yeah. There's a lot of countries like that.
I'm not
I
saying
want to go and be like, look at all this money.
I'm not saying I'm not saying I like socialism, but I don't think that perspective you just laid out is necessarily correct.
It will be if they get rid of capitalism.
I don't think that's correct, Ben.
Oh yeah, I truly believe so. But that's my own personal opinion. There's no telling until we were to like if it was something that was enacted out on a scale right now in America's scale for the size of our country.
I don't think that would work for America.
No, not in any capacity.
There would have
That's why I was saying I'd like to see it play out.
I think
Let's see what happens.
I think that it'd be good in terms of the people at this job. Say you are janitor, and there's a man janitor, woman janitor, man janitor, woman janitor. The men janitors are getting paid $1.10, and the women janitors get paid $1.30. Instead of them having different rates, they would all be paid the same $1.30 instead. And then if they go up in rank, then they get paid more. Everybody at that level gets paid the same.
True.
It's not longevity based. If you've been there in the same position for 10 years, now you're making more.
Yeah, but they don't actually up your pay to what you should be getting paid.
But we don't know that because we're not in that system.
No, but you can go look. There's plenty of resources. You can go look at every country that's done it.
That's okay, but I don't.
Canada tried doing it, kind of. And it did not work too well.
No, it did
Look
not.
at their medical system. It's fucked.
Well, I mean, Italy has that. Turkey has that. Turkey has the best health system in the world, and it's free for all
Yeah,
citizens.
Turkey's also this big.
This is true, but I mean,
But scale and size plays a massive role.
absolutely.
That's what she
As
said.
I wish.
Aw.
I'm wide and small, baby. That's scale for you, dog.
Girth. Anyways, let's get back to it. Sorry, I know I tangent. Oh, we are at the end of it. So anyways, yeah, so Lea Frye, she's got, there's a bunch of crap going on. So basically wrapping this up, if her allegations are proven true, it could lead to significant, changes in stricter oversight of reservoir reporting practices in the oil and gas industry. It also highlights the need for stronger protection for whistleblowers, to ensure that when they come forward, they don't have the fear of retaliation. So I just burped.
You gotta stop burping on Mike.
Can't help it, dude. Can't help it. So, yeah, man.
That wraps it up for the most part.
That wraps it up.
I do want to say a few other names that we didn't get to. There are a lot of different names that were related to whistleblowing, and I just want to get to a few of them that we didn't get to.
Yeah, can we take like 10 minutes to sift through them, talk a little bit more on whistleblowing, just the overall narrative,
yeah.
and then we'll close out.
Yeah, so we have Catherine Bolkovac. She was a police officer who was calling out human trafficking and prostitution in the United Nations peacekeepers and international contractors in Bosnia. She was a woman in the movie The Whistleblower. Frank Serpeko, a former new NYPD officer exposing widespread corruption within the NYPD in 1970. Another movie, Serpeko. And then Mordecai Venenua, a former Israeli nuclear technician, revealed details of Israeli nuclear weapons programs in the British press in 1986. He was subsequently kidnapped by Mossad agents and imprisoned for 18 years.
Oh, wait, who is this again?
Mordecai Venenua.
Oh, I read about him.
Yeah. He was a whistleblower about nuclear weapons in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Another deep dive topic that would be crazy.
Yep. I came across him.
Eileen Chubb, a former care assistant in the UK exposing abuse and negligence in nursing homes. Frederick Whitehurst, a former FBI crime lab supervisor, exposing forensic misconduct in the FBI laboratory, which FBI, fuck you, you fucking suck, you ain't doing shit. Bunatine Bunny Greenhouse, a former procurement executive in the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, exposing favoritism and irregulatories in the awarding of contracts in the Halliburton during the Iraq War. I don't know if you remember that, but that's like money smuggling and gun smuggling. That's what that was.
I remember that.
That's what that one was. You have Kathy Harris of the U.S. Customs Service, employee who revealed racial profiling and abuse of custom agents. Sharon Watkins, a former Enron vice president who alerted company executives about accounting irregulatories. And John Kopashinitsky, a former Pfizer sales representative who blew the whistle on illegal marketing practices of painkiller Bextera in a $2.3 billion settlement.
Oh, yeah.
Those are just a few more of hundreds of whistleblowers that we've seen
Yeah.
in our society. Now, we've detailed a few of them today, but I implore you, if you have the ability to reach out to these organizations of whistleblowers, if you can, donate to them. If you can, so put your own whistleblowing in there and make your voice heard as well, because you may not know whose life you may save or change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't stress that enough.
Yeah, no, 100%. When it comes to just the whole narrative, kind of what we were talking about before, but the level of corruption, I don't care what system you have in place. Like, it could be a capitalist system. It could be a constitutional democracy. It could be a democracy. It could be, or a constitutional republic. It could be a democracy. It could be whatever structure you want to throw in there on all layers. Doesn't matter. Corruption's still going to happen.
Yeah.
It's human condition. Greed, vanity, selfishness. All those elements those traits don't disappear. You know, these people of power corrupts people. It easily can. Not everyone gets corrupted. Luckily, those people just had a better moral head on their shoulders, right? Like, where they had better ethics and principles that were distilled in them. And then some people may have had that at one point, but they lost it because they got tempted by the beast. You know, I'm not saying the mark of the beast, that gay shit. I'm talking about just, it was a metaphor for just the monster. For
Well, brother, if you're getting stuck by the mark of the beast, you're gonna find yourself in hell, damned to all eternity, damned forever.
Yes.
Don't fall for that one, brother.
Yeah, I've been waiting for the world to end every year when they announce it. It never happens. They've been doing that a long time,
Or has it already happened and now we're stuck in fucking purgatory limbo with all the
That would explain why
demons.
everything's kind of like a simulation in a weird way.
Well, I mean, we are definitely living in a simulation, not a computerized one, but one that is
Are you sure about
fabricated
that?
for
We're
us.
getting closer and closer.
To
Because
what?
a lot of the shit you see on Facebook and these influencers, Instagram, Snapchat, all of them. We kind of briefly talked about it, I think the last episode.
The internet is dead, yeah.
A lot of the videos you see of these influencers at these places, it's all fake.
Well, yeah.
It's our AI generated.
Yeah.
Even the person is AI generated, and it's so seamless. It's so seamless. And the only reason I've noticed it is because since I've been digging into that stuff on the back end, right? All of a sudden it's
Fucking nerd.
fuck. Nerd. I've come across many different social media accounts and influencers that are on Snapchat, things like that. They're fake. It's fully generated.
Oh, absolutely.
And you can't tell by the human eye almost. There are subtleties. And like I had said, I think on the last Internet is Dead episode, the one thing that AI does the best at is POV pornography.
Nasty.
Because it has one fixed point. So it doesn't have to worry about moving around, doesn't have to worry about doing moving around in crazy extensive ways. Since it's an isolated point of view, it renders it almost to the point, honestly, at the point where you can't tell. You cannot tell that it's fake. That's how real.
How much of this have you watched?
Of that?
Countless hours.
Dude, I've been watching for years. I know a fake bush when I see one. I don't know what you're talking about. We all know it's Predator's fucking face in there, just opening up. And the moment I see it and it looks angelic down there, I'm like, that's not real. It can't be. We all know vaginas look like fucking the monster.
They got teeth, right? We know they got teeth. They got
do.
tentacles. They got all that sort of shit. They got one really long tentacle and two round objects, too.
They said that H.P. Lovecraft invented Cthulhu, when really Cthulhu is just a metaphor / analogy
For AI POV porn.
I was gonna say woman's vagina. Don't tell my wife; she's gonna beat the shit out of me. My wife loves me for some reason. You listeners out there, I don't know why she does, but she does. She hates me. Yeah. So, but anyways, moving on. So, the other thing about the whistleblowing stuff is that, like, dude, one thing that drives me nuts about it is the fact that we have people, like, I think we kind of touched on it earlier at the beginning, but like people come forward and say, X, Y, and Z is happening. And they claim they have photos, they have videos. Why the fuck aren't they getting put up?
Yeah, I mean,
That's the part that I don't trust. That's why I end up holding back. And I go,
well, yeah,
part of me thinks you're full of fucking shit. If you are telling the truth, you bring the fucking receipts.
That's the biggest thing, right? You can't trust every single whistleblower, because who's to say they're not a CIA operative or an FBI PSYOP individual trying to just trick you into thinking this is happening when really something else is happening.
Yeah.
So every single whistleblower that you hear about, you can't really take at face value unless they have physical and actual evidence of something happening. So
Yeah.
much like Peter Buxton and that was the guy with the Tuskegee Syphilis Act, right?
Yeah, Peter Buxton.
So he had evidence. He had lots of it. He was proving it, and he was right. I mean, but there's countless other examples of whistleblowers who are just like, yeah, I saw aliens pick up children in the fucking Thailand desert. And it's like, okay, who are you? Who the fuck are you? Where's the pictures?
Yeah, it drives me nuts when there's no, like, they don't bring the physical evidence. And it's like, why the fuck are we even here?
It's a great story you just told me, right? Like,
yeah, it's like, oh, that's cool. Where's your evidence? Well, I'll show it when the time's right. It's like,
time's right
now, motherfucker.
Right now's a great
That's what
time.
holds me back from some of these whistleblowers, is because I start to decredit, not their credibility in my head starts to go down, because it's like, I understand the whole fear for your life thing, but if that's the case, the more you put out there, the safer you're going to become. Or I could be wrong. I don't know. I've never been in the position of people like David Grusch and like Jackie and Paul and like a few other, the people
Carl
we've
Wolf.
talked. Yeah, like I've never been in that position of that caliber, but I have whistleblown before on a company. Or when I say a whistleblower, I went through the proper channels.
You teased us earlier. Tell us. Spill the beans.
I don't.
Where's your proof?
I'm not going to say the names.
Where's your proof?
Well, that's the thing. That's why I'm not going to say names, because I don't have any of the proof. I had the proof then. It was years ago, and I provided it. But I don't have any of that stuff anymore. But basically, I worked for a brief stint before I moved back to Texas. I took a job for like 4 months. I worked at a gym, and I got the job as a head personal trainer. Right. I did it for a brief stint, and not that.
You're telling that story, dude. Yeah.
It's not that story, dude. And we're not going to talk about it anymore, okay? So we don't know what we're talking about right now.
Well, brother, yeah, we do, dude. You and I know what we're talking about. That's called an inside joke, inside story, dude.
Fuck you.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, dude. So basically,
Sorry.
whenever I worked at this gym, and the reason I'm not going to say names is mainly because you never know who's listening to this shit. And for all I know, if they didn't like what I'm being said and the wrong person finds out, and it's like, let's say this clip gets made of me saying this, right, with detail, then it would, be surfacing, surfing the interwebs, everywhere. And they could, you know what I mean? Like, they could try to turn that in their favor of, like, if they start losing shit.
Just don't say the business name.
I'm not going to say the business name. So when I was literally my first week there, the manager, like, because when I got hired, I was not the head personal trainer. I was just hired in as a trainer. That's it. I came in my first week there, the manager of, now not the personal training manager, but the general manager of the gym
facility
itself. Yeah. He's basically just in charge of fucking sales. That's all it is. Selling gym memberships. I didn't witness him yet. I witnessed him a little bit later, like a week after this. But the first event was that all of a sudden a coworker of mine came back because they went basically, trying to, get advertised. They were going around handing out cards in public places like, hey, here's a free 3-day trial, blah, blah, blah. Come talk to me. They were sales reps, right? Well, this girl got back, who I was cool with. Like, she was someone I engaged with on and off, because I had to deal with her. And she seemed like a really cool chick. But then she had come back one day, and I saw that she was all emotional. Like, she literally was crying. And I saw her, like, kind of scoot away from everybody out of the public eye. And I was like, well, I wonder if she's all right. obviously something's wrong, you
Yeah.
know. But I didn't think it was work related necessarily, because it's not like she was packing up her stuff and leaving. She was just like hiding away in her office. So eventually a little time went by that day, and I ended up running into her again, and I saw that she was still being very reclusive, and I was like, yo, you all right? And then after a conversation, it led on to finding out that she finally opened up, and it was the fact that when she was in the car with the GM, right? Because they both went out. It was her, him, and another guy. And they all went to go park the car up and then go walk around and do their advertising shit. Well, whenever they all were coming back from doing this, I guess the dude the third guy who rode out there with them, he ended up not riding back with them and got a ride with his like girlfriend or some shit. Like she picked him up or something. So it was just them two. And I guess apparently whenever he was driving back, he had a like a DVD, like not DVD, but like a, movie player thing built onto his car that he had like on his dash. And it wasn't like part of the console. It was something he added so he could like play movies and shit like that. And it would link up to his phone. And he started playing porn, right? And that's what I was told. And at first I didn't go, oh my gosh, someone's got to do something. I was like, did he actually put on board? Like, all right, level with me. Give me full events. Don't doctor shit. Just tell me the facts. Like, walk me through from beginning to end. And basically, she said the same thing, but gave a little more details. So basically, like, he just started asking her what she was into and, like, all this stuff, like, out of nowhere. And don't get me wrong, I had dealt with the GM a couple times. Like, I've met him and had some exchanges. But I didn't really care for him. I never really, like, my initial reaction when I met him, I was like, he seemed like a sleazeball. That's all I thought. Like, that's what my gut told me. And that was before I knew any of this. And my gut's usually pretty on point. And so, like, when she told me that, I was like, sad part is I could see him doing that. Because of my first, just meeting him, just that's the vibe he puts off. It's just kind of like a greasy sleazeball kind of guy. And anyways, a few more days went by, and all of a sudden she wasn't at work. And I had someone that was coming in there who I had got, like, pretty much said, like, yo, if you ever want a free training session, if you come in, you can talk with one of the sales reps if you enjoy it, and, you can get a membership, blah, blah. Well, I was trying to hook up her because technically the lead was from her. So it was like, it would be appropriate that she would get the credit for it and the commission if that person signs up. So I was looking for her, couldn't find her. I was like, that's weird. I know she works today. She's on the schedule. And I guess apparently she called in last minute out of nowhere. So I didn't see her or whatever. A couple more days go by. She still hadn't come into work. And I had her number. So I said, fuck it. I'm just going to shoot her a text and be like, yo, like, you good? Like, I got someone sign up. I got a commission here waiting for you. But if you're like sick, I get it. Like, we'll work around it or whatever. And yeah, apparently she wasn't coming in because I guess another situation happened with the GM. And it was behind closed doors where he was like, bringing up the whole, like, what is she into thing again, and like asked her if she ever like thought about, like, pretty much doing promiscuous stuff in the workplace. Like, basically he was trying to get in her pants is what was happening in a sleaziest, nastiest way possible. And I don't know why he thought it would work on this chick. I mean, one thought is maybe it's because she had a couple of kids between a few different father figures, So, like, maybe he just thought she was loosey-goosey, So he thought it would be an easy lay type situation. I have no idea. But that's what he was doing to her. And at that point, I was like, all right, well, if this is happening to you for real, you need to tell someone. Like, it's not going to do any good if I tell anyone. I didn't witness shit. I was like, you need to go tell someone. And she was like, I did. I was like, really? You did? And what's happening? Or whatever. She's like, well, I reached out to whatever his name was, and so who was higher up. He was like a regional manager, right? Who was like hit this GM's boss, and he basically just told her, send me an email.
Oh,
while she's telling him this over the phone, because she just called him because, like, she had tried to reach out to him through like whatever contact or whatever, and then she wasn't getting through, and then so she's like, well, they do have his like number, his personal number listed, so I just called it, and that's how she got him on the phone. And then she was like, and apparently he just told her, email me it, and then hung up on her. That's what she told me, right? I didn't know if I believed it. I didn't know what to believe yet, right? I was still gathering information. I was like, so a sleazeball and another piece of shit, like something's not adding up. Like, is it really that what's out going on? You know, because I'm not witnessing this stuff, so I'm not like getting the gung ho of I got us to do something. Well, then I did, because I witnessed it actually myself. I was in this little back room where we like stored like yoga equipment and everything, and I was just organizing it and getting stuff put up from a yoga class that had just happened. And all of a sudden I hear the GM talking, and he's like, oh no, come in here, come in here. And then all of a sudden I hear him say, no, I said come in here, like sternly. And I was like, who the fuck is he talking to? And I was like, I leaned my head around and to look into this other room, because like this is like a little like a storage room that I'm in, and you have to walk through that room that they're in, that they just walked into, where I heard them talking, to get into this room. So the only way out is walking through that room. So what I did was I just stayed quiet for a second to be like, what's going on out there? And then that's when I realized she was in there too. He like forced her in there. He was like, got all stern with her, like, no, you come in here. You know, and so she stepped into the threshold, and then I heard the door shut, and I was just like, please tell me what I think is not going to happen is about to happen, because I didn't want to witness it. I just got the job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't want any part of this. If it was, you know, not actually a thing, you know, it ended up being a thing, because the next thing I know, I'm hearing him pretty much the same thing that she had told me about. Only this time it was like him being a dick, though. He was being like an assertive dick about it. Like, he was saying, like, you know, he's like, listen, you have a problem with me, you can tell me. I don't, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, word must have gotten back to him, because she probably sent that email, like she said she was going to. Turns out he knew nothing about that. But what I heard and witnessed, because I leaned my head around, and his back was to me, like they were like at an angle, so like neither one of them saw me looking around this, like creeping around the door frame. And the like straight up dude was just straight up making sexual advances at her, and telling her that, you know, if she wants to go anywhere with this job, that she's got to play ball. Like, that's essentially like not even just essentially, he was deliberately, like, directly doing that. It's just I don't remember the exact words he used, but
He was saying more derogatory things.
Oh yes, far more derogatory things, like things I'd be like, bitch, if I ever heard you talking in public to a chick that way, I'd probably knock you the fuck out, because that's what needs to happen. That's fucked up. So that happened or whatever, and I'm still in there, and I was like, all right, I'm walking out now, because I was like, I've heard enough, I've witnessed enough, I've witnessed it now. I'm not putting up with this shit. So I walked out, and I was just like, hey, I was smiling too. And he was just like, oh, you should see it on his face, dude. He went white as a fucking ghost. His eyes were like, oh shit. Like, because
he's been caught.
He's been caught. Now he's been caught by someone who's not one of his little buddies, his little cronies that do it too. Turns out he's like his little other reps.
Clique.
Yeah, they all did that kind of fucked up shit. And so whenever I walked in, I was like, hey, and he like went white as a ghost. And I was like, yeah, so I guess she was telling the truth, huh? And I just stared at him. I was like, so what are you gonna fucking do now? And I stared at him. I'm like, you gonna keep doing this? Because I'm not gonna allow that to happen. And then he was like, oh, well, I gotta go make a phone call. Literally, that's what he said to me walking out and identifying. He literally goes, oh, I need to make a phone call. I was like, yeah, you do that. I was like, watch out for dark parking lots. And then that's all I said to him, right? And I just looked at her. I was like, all right, we need to do something about this, because this is fucked up. And my moral gut was just like fucking tearing itself up. I was like, no, we have to do the right thing. You have someone who witnessed it now. I witnessed it. Let's go handle it, right? Well, in that process, during that time, so he got suspended temporarily while they were investigating, because I did whistleblow. But word had not gotten back to the other guy, who is a regional manager of personal training, completely unrelated to the situation. Well, I had already been in talks with him of becoming the head trainer down at this other location. So I had taken that position and I went down there right after this all happened, right? And I had already given my account of what happened through the proper channels, all that stuff. And then I was down in my new location. I hadn't been there a month and a half or 2 months. I think I was there a total of like maybe 2.5 total. But within the first 2 or 3 weeks, all of a sudden my boss, who's the regional trainer, guy in charge of personal training, started being really weird to me. Like he was just like being really short with me, would not communicate. I basically, all my resources being cut off. It was a club that was struggling. It was a gym location that was struggling. And that's why I was going to go down there, because in my first week there, I showed that like I knew what the fuck I was doing. And like literally, like all of a sudden I wasn't getting resource anymore. I would make phone, like he wouldn't take my calls, nothing. There's all these things that were supposed to happen that all of a sudden he was ghosting me on. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like none of this makes any sense. You know what I mean? And then I want to say it was like, right at the end of like first 2 or 3 weeks, one of the other trainers there who had been there working there for like 5 or 6 years, knew everybody, had an opportunity to move up, but didn't want to because he liked what, he was making more money doing what he was doing than being in charge, And he just told me, he's like, listen, man, he's like, someone's got to tell you, like, I keep my nose out of everything. He's like, we try to do that with this club, but there's obviously stuff coming in here now. He's like, I'm just letting you know, you've been blacklisted, dude. He's like, you're probably not going to have a job here soon. I was like, how the fuck do you know that? And he was just like, well, it's pretty much common knowledge what you did. He's like, which I would have done the same thing. He's like, that's fucked up. I'm just surprised. Like, he was like pretty much saying, like, I would have beaten the shit out of that GM if I witnessed it. I was like, yeah, for sure. And he just like told me that he was getting information from other reps, like other people at other locations, because he was really well connected with people. And next thing I knew, I was getting reached out to by some higher up person, pretty much questioning what I witnessed. Pretty much trying to, like, I told him what I witnessed because he asked. And then he tried to take my words. He's like, well, did you really see this? Like, try to twist it. And I said, yes. And he was like, I forgot how he worded it, but basically he basically threatened my job without directly threatening my job. And I just responded with, I was like, all right, man, like, if you're going to threaten me, do it properly. Okay. Like, be direct. I was like, I don't know what's going on here. Like, I feel like you're going against me. And I tried to convey that. And then, and then this is the end of it, really, because I ended up quitting because I found out that I was going to be fired at the end of the next week, even though I had already bumped up numbers in the club for them and I was doing my job still, and I was doing really good at it. But it all had to do with the fact that I helped this girl who was being basically sexually assaulted, in a way. And then put into these really inappropriate situations and narratives and conversations that were happening that were wildly bad. And and I found out I was going to get fired. So I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to get fired, I'm out. No 2 weeks notice. Bye. I didn't even say bye. I literally didn't even tell anyone I quit. I just bailed. I was like, nope, fuck all this. And then I moved back down to Texas. And in that time frame, don't get me wrong, I went and found a job, which is easy to do when you have a CDL. So I just went and got a job at, driving trucks again. So, and I did that and moved back down to Texas. But I did the whole 9 yards, did the whole documentation thing. I had an audio recording that I had taken of him on a second conversation that I was overhearing, so I could provide it, and of him saying fucked up things, to other female employees.
Well, good for you, Ben.
But yeah, so they were going to fire me because
you did the right thing.
Whistleblew.
Fuck that job. Fuck them people.
Oh yeah, fuck all them, dude. But yeah, that was my little whistleblowing story. I got event I got to live through.
That's good. You did the right thing.
Now I make more money than they do, bitches.
They're probably in jail for sexual harassment.
Probably not. From what I've seen on the Facebooks, every once in a while, some of them pop up in my suggestions, which is because of people I'm friends with. Oh, no, they're doing great. Still working at the same place, too. It's like, of course you would. If you were to work anywhere else, you wouldn't have that job.
That's right.
But you're staying there. And plus, let's just say he makes an energy drink who owns the company.
Say less.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You know what I'm talking about? Finger bang guns, dude. Yeah. Anyways, that's all I got.
That's a very cool story.
Cool story, bro.
Anyway, thank you all for listening. If you made it this far, you are a real one. You're the people that we love to see, love to come back. Again, reach out to us anyway, any form, leave a comment, yell at me, call me bad names. We're all right.
He likes to be called Poodlehead.
Yes, I do.
Oh, poodle me. Poodle doodled me.
Poodle doodle.
His doodle's got a poodle.
All right, y'all. Y'all have a good night.
All right, bye, guys.
Later.
Have a good one.